And we have a go for auto sequence start. Discovery's onboard computers have primary control of all the vehicle's critical functions. Start, 2, 1, booster ignition, and liftoff of the Space Shuttle Discovery.
Welcome to the Launchpad. I'm your host, Harry Washington. The Launchpad is produced by Pursuing a Dream Corporation. And those of you not familiar with Pursuing a Dream Corporation, it's a nonprofit organization that encourages students to pursue degrees and careers in the areas of science, technology, engineering, and math. And today our focus is going to be STEM. And for those of you unfamiliar with STEM, again, it's science, technology, engineering, and math. And our focus in particular are programs that are making a difference in STEM. Our guest today is Ms. Elizabeth Burris with Big Learning. Elizabeth, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Now, what is the philosophy of Big Learning and who do you service?
The philosophy at Big Learning is that after-school programming is essential. And we serve populations of children mainly in Montgomery County and the surrounding DC metropolitan area in grades pre-kindergarten through 8th grade. And we believe in serving all children, but especially those that don't normally get this kind of after-school enrichment opportunity.
Now, provide the audience with a brief history about Big Learning.
Sure, we have a long history. In 1952, Big Learning began as a foreign language program, and that was called FLES. And that program began by a group of parents at Kensington Elementary, which is based in Montgomery County, which is now part of Kensington Parkwood. And about 20 years later, MCC PTA, or the Montgomery County Council of PTAs, decided to make FLES into a nonprofit entity called Educational Programs, Inc. A few years later, Hands-on Science was brought on board into the program, and that program was developed by Dr. Phyllis Katz, and that began our STEM programming. So fast forward, in 2011, we merged with a program called Big Learning, and that was an engineering program developed by Dr. Karen Cole, and we recently acquired the name Big Learning as our business name for the foreign language program, FLES, and now the Big Learning Science Engineering program, which I direct.
Now, what differentiates Big Learning from other STEM programs?
Well, there's several unique features that sets us apart from some of the other STEM programs that you might find. Well, in my opinion, I think we have the best program out there. The kids are having a lot of fun, but more specifically, we take on a hands-on approach to learning as opposed to demonstration-based programs. So we're very interested in providing children with an opportunity to learn by doing. Some of the other attributes that sets us apart is that we want to show kids that science is in everything and everywhere, as opposed to in a science laboratory with a man with a lab coat and crazy hair, but that science and engineering and math is accessible to them. So that's really important. Another feature that I feel sets us apart is that children participate in all the activities each week, and they're given all the material. And in addition to that, they'll get their science journal to document their data and their observations, but they'll also be able to take home the projects and the experiments that they put together to share with their families and friends and for further discovery. So that's I think a big difference in our program.
Now, how can parents enroll their students in your program?
They can go to our website, www.biglearning.org. There is a registration link where they can click on, and if they can find their school, they can sign up their children for our programs. If their school is not listed as one of the schools that are providing Big Learning, then they can contact our office and they can set up a program. All we need is a coordinator for the program, since we run our programs at the schools.
And what future initiatives, or what current or future initiatives does Big Learning have?
We currently are in the next month, we'll be launching a crowdsourcing campaign. We believe in serving all children, and especially those that are in need and can't afford the program. So the crowdsourcing campaign will replenish our scholarship fund, and there'll also be a link on our website to learn more about that and how to donate. And another initiative that we're working on is launching a middle school program called Designing Futures, where middle school students can learn about STEM professions.
Now, just in closing, how can these programs truly benefit students?
Well, first off, children have fun in our programs, and they have fun while learning science and engineering.
Okay.
So that's first and foremost, getting kids passionate about doing science and engineering and math. Some of the other benefits that they might get is more exposure to STEM and STEM-related careers and professions. It supports their learning in school about science, engineering, and math. We pay particularly attention to standards, especially the recent ones that were launched, the next generation of science standards.
Okay.
And then also developing skills to become innovators for life, critical thinking skills, problem solving, collaboration, and creativity. So those are some of the benefits that they'll get.
Excellent. We'd like to thank our guest, Ms. Elizabeth Burris from Big Learning. Remember, to learn more about the program, you can check out their credits at the end of the program, or also go to their website. We'll be back. Welcome back to Launchpad. I'm your host, Harry Washington, and we're joined today by Mrs. Chris Hanks, a STEM resource teacher at Woodside Elementary, to talk about the Bootstrap program. Chris, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's nice to be here.
Now, tell us a little bit about the Bootstrap program. What's its mission, and who actually do you serve?
So we serve 5th grade students. The Bootstrap program is created by Emmanuel Schanzer.
Okay.
It's a program that's designed to teach kids to create a video game by using algebra.
Oh.
So there are 3 main pieces to it. One is the software.
Okay.
So there's actually nothing to download. When we use it at school, we access it through just the web. So any school that has a computer and a browser, you're good to go.
Okay.
Everything that you need there. There is a significant curriculum that's associated with it.
Okay.
So for teachers that want to use it, you go to bootstrapworld.org. All the lesson plans are there. There are lovely teacher scripts for someone who's new to this,
Okay.
Student workbooks.
Okay.
All the materials that you need are there, and they're free.
Okay. So now, describe us the structure. How often do students meet with the teachers, and how long is the program?
So at our school, we run it as a club.
Okay.
So we meet for about 12 to 14 weeks. We meet for about 2 hours a day. There are lots of different ways to run it. I know that some people have done it as a STEM summer camp.
Okay.
I know that the ideal way is to run it actually in conjunction with an algebra class, but we're dealing with younger students, so we have modified that a little bit.
How long has Bootstrap been at your school, at Woodside?
At Woodside, we've been using it for 2 years.
Okay.
We use it with advanced level 5th grade math students.
Okay.
So we're actually modifying the program as it was designed and intended. It's actually intended for 12 to 14-year-old students who are currently taking algebra.
Wow.
So we're running it a little differently.
So you work with 10-year-olds?
We're working with 10-year-olds who love video games. So
what are some of the difficulties working with these 10-year-olds?
Again, because it's designed for 12 to 14-year-olds, the difficulties are really usually have to do with the adults in the room.
Okay.
The kids take to the program.
Excellent.
Typically within 1 or 2 sessions, they are running circles around us.
Okay.
It does involve some coding.
Okay.
The main objective is the math and the algebra. There is some coding, and I would say that most elementary school teachers are not usually comfortable with coding. We don't have a lot of experience in that. So there was some learning we had to do related to that.
Okay.
And again, because we're using it in a new way, we really did have to look very carefully at the math that Emmanuel has intended to make sure that there's fidelity to the program.
No problem.
So the algebraic concepts that would occur in elementary school, we're really trying to make sense of those in a way that helps them to reach the larger scale algebra concepts.
Now, being a STEM teacher, STEM resource teacher, what would you say some of the benefits have been for students that participate in this program? Or what skills have they developed?
So benefits globally, like in large scale, I would say that the students overall, it's been a really powerful moment for them because we're dealing with advanced level math students. They're used to knowing the answers. Quickly, easily, it comes to them. Bootstrap was a real challenge for them, and I mean that in a very good way because they really got into the program and didn't know the answer right away or had to struggle through some problems. So for a child who's used to always doing really well, that's a powerful moment to sit down in front of something and then not really know what to do next. But it's an important moment because if we're encouraging students to pursue STEM careers, STEM fields of study, they need to be prepared for that.
Right. The challenge in particular.
They need to be prepared for the challenge, for not always knowing the answer. Engineers don't know the answers going into it.
That's interesting.
They figure them out.
Now, just in closing, what can parents and educators do to get students more interested in STEM degrees and careers?
So I think overall, students in general are interested in STEM degrees. They want to work for Facebook. They want to create robots.
Okay.
They want to program. I think the content knowledge that's necessary to pursue those degrees is difficult.
Okay.
And so I think as parents and educators, we always need to be seeking opportunities for our kids to really build their content knowledge in a very real world way.
Okay.
And to let them be comfortable with the struggle.
Okay.
I would, in one caveat to that, I would say is I work with at-risk students who are some of the brightest and most creative I've ever worked with.
Okay.
Occasionally in those populations, they don't always see those as possibilities.
Right.
They know they exist. They don't always see them as possibilities for themselves. So we really do try, I work in an elementary school, and we really do try to introduce very early on that these are possibilities not just for other people, but for them. So they need those experiences.
So STEM is cool.
STEM is cool.
We'd like to thank our guest, Ms. Chris Hanks of Woodside Elementary, and I'm sure the students there enjoy Ms. Hanks as well.
Yes, enjoy my job.
We'll be back. Welcome back to the Launchpad. Again, I'm your host, Harry Washington, and today we're joined by the founder of the Pearl Project, Mrs. Robin McDougall. Robin, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Excited about being here.
Good, and glad to have you. Now, what's the mission of the Pearl Project?
The Pearl Project was designed to reach community leaders,
Okay.
to empower the leaders in the community. More like a homeschool connection.
Okay.
How could we take advanced physics, advanced math, bring it to a community so that they are comfortable with it in their after-school hours?
Okay.
And so it was founded with some grant money that was given to us
Okay.
from the National Girls Collaborative,
Okay.
from the Women in Technology Organization, from some corporations like eGlam and M-Media Mobile.
Got it.
And so we put together some dollars to plan and write a curriculum that teaches community leaders to bring advanced math, science, and engineering and technology to their own community.
Now, Pearl Project, that sounds like a very unique name. What influenced the name?
You know what? I'm a kid from Brooklyn, New York,
Okay.
and I grew up in public housing.
Okay.
And so I didn't have as many opportunities as my children have today.
Okay.
So somebody came along from the community, especially the after-school community world, because I didn't go to summer camp, I didn't go to after-school programs.
Okay.
I had a community center and attached to my public housing. The adults there, the community activists and leaders, would take us and spend time with us.
Okay.
As a result of that, I was able to take a special test.
Okay.
Identified the fact that I was good in science and math, and I went to a special private school.
Okay.
Yes, I had to leave my community and be in a community of people that I was unfamiliar with. But because of that, it changed the path of my life.
Okay.
And as a result of that, this is my homage or my give back, my pay it forward. I decided that as a result of my personal experience and some research as an educator and a business person, I know that STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math, is an absolute must for everybody.
Okay.
I call it STEM literacy. You may not be a computer scientist, but in order to go into the military or take any job today and in the future, you must have STEM capability.
Okay.
And the best way to do that is to have someone you're comfortable with teach you the hard stuff. Students that come through our program may have had an opportunity to do it at school, but maybe they didn't enjoy it.
Okay.
Coming home to be with the community leader like I did, maybe I listened better. Maybe I had a little bit more time to deal with the things that were difficult. And so the Pearl Project is named after the idea that a pearl was born in a rough environment, which is the inside of an oyster.
Okay.
So when a piece of grit gets in an oyster, over time, with nurturing, it turns into a beautiful, highly valued, precious gem we call the pearl.
Now, because the program is formed for girls, what issues do you feel girls face that boys versus boys as it relates to education?
Right, good point. There was a book that came out called Why So Few? written by the National Science Foundation and the American Association of University Women. They collaborated together to figure out what was the problem. Why are there so few girls and minorities going into STEM fields? And they found several reasons. The book is available for free to many people, and I'd be glad to send you the book in a PDF to send to your viewers. However, but the bottom line there's 6 reasons. Out of the 6, we couldn't do them all, so we picked 3. 1, persistence. We must teach our youth to be persistent in fields that are very ambiguous. Physics is very difficult, and you don't get it right away. So you must learn that the first step to knowing is not knowing. So persistence is a major part of the Pearl Project. Number 2, spatial reasoning. They explain to us that boys tend to grow up building blocks. They're encouraged to think out of the box to solve problems. And so girls like myself and women that I know in my age group, we didn't get Lego blocks. We didn't do that in our spare time. So when you play with blocks and puzzles, they develop something called spatial reasoning. When you are reviewed in school for advanced or gifted programs, spatial reasoning is part of the test. When you take the SAT, spatial reasoning has always been part of that.
Just in closing, what current initiatives do you have that Pearl Project is offering?
Pearl Project now is expanding from middle school to high school into having programs for internships for college students. In addition, we're going back and we're looking for programs for young elementary school girls. We'd
like to thank our guest, Ms. Robin McDougall of the Pearl Project. Stay tuned. We have a very special video that we want you to see.
I just want to welcome you all to Bowie. I want to thank the parents for bringing their children out here. This is going to be one of the most important programs you will ever have. And I really admire the fact that you will get up out of your bed early on a Saturday morning to come and learn. One of the things they were asking you is, why do you want to be an entrepreneur? Why do you want to work for someone else?
Good morning, everybody. My name is Alex Thomas. I work with Wells Fargo Bank. I've been a banker for about 4 years now, specializing in business banking for about 2. Thank you, Harry, for inviting us back out. We've done a couple things with Pursuing a Dream Corporation before. The easiest way to build your credit is to pay your bills one time. There's no secret, there's no credit genie. Okay. Pay your bills on time. Develop a good working relationship with your banker or lender. Okay, that's something we take pride in at Wells Fargo. That's why it says personal banker. Okay, I have a book of business. I have clients that I touch base with weekly.
Basically, I started my company when I was in the 5th grade for a community service bazaar. We had to raise money for a charity, and I raised it for Sibley Hospital. And people started to ask for more and more soap, so I decided to turn it into a business.
And I'm happy to be here in front of you all today. And as he said, my name is Deanna Mayo, and I also go by Miss Cookie. And I am a teen entrepreneur as well as a hip-hop artist as well. And so actually I'm just here to really share with you all today about my story and how I got started and, you know, what inspired me. So from the very beginning, when I first started, I was 13. And my mom came home to homeschool my brothers and I. And so at the time, I was taking a home ec course and a business course. And I'm learning about becoming an entrepreneur. And, you know, I've always wanted to have my own business, you know, just to have my own money in my pocket. You know, my parents have always, you know, from growing up, they've always been like, you know, you have to learn how to provide for yourself. Because they're not always going to be here, or they're not always going to be able to guide me through life. And so with that, I decided, okay, I'm learning about how to become an entrepreneur.
HR, and we provide HR for small businesses and startups. It's one of the things that are furthest on a lot of startup and employers' minds about getting their HR together. But with the information we heard today about 95% of businesses failing because of the owner's lack of expertise and experience. Not a lot of business owners that start their business have a background in HR or understand HR law and things like that. So we come in as a support and help them continue.
What I want to touch on are some things that I've learned over the years that are so important to know. These other presenters, they gave you some great things to look into, but there's some personal things I think you need to know to really be successful in business. And I talk with my hands, so I'm going to put this down. For me, between the ages of 18 to 25, I can't begin to tell you how many businesses I started and failed at. I mean, in my home today, I have a drawer with so many business cards of so many things I did that failed or that I gave up on. It took years of consistency, learning through those failures to get it right. I am in my 30s and I got it right. And it came from all of those lessons.
So my name is Henry Ahn. I manage the seed funding program for a company called TECO, or Maryland Technology Development Corporation. I've been there probably for about close to 9.5 years now, managing their seed funding program. So I've been there for a long time. And Alex from Wells Fargo talked about business plans. That's pretty much, I do a lot of that. I go through a lot of business plans, try to decide which ones are interesting enough for our review committee to consider. And we do have a number of other programs as well. The program that I'm in charge of is pretty much the seed funding for early stage companies, providing up to $100,000. But we do have funding programs for universities, also funding programs for a bit later stage companies, kind of early venture capital type of stage.
You got a lot going on with an interview. Even if you start your own business, guess what? You still might have to interview. You might have to interview because when you go before the bank, they're going to look at you in a particular way on how you present yourself. So it's really important on how you present yourself. First thing I want to ask, a real quick question. I work with Men's Warehouse, been with Men's Warehouse for about 7 years. Now, how long do you think Men's Warehouse has been in operation? Real quick. Now, and y'all have been really, really slow on the answers. I want y'all to answer quick so we can roll through this. How many years you think we've been in operation? Yes?
Probably 10 years.
10 years. Good number, but it's a little more than that. Yes?
20.
Very good. Double that.
I was going to say 45.
40 years. 40 years. Now watch this. How many years, how many stores do you think we've amassed in 40 years? Come on. Just take a stab at it. Bang. Say it again. More than 1,000. Now you're really good because most of the time you hear these little 10 stores, 20 stores. Guess what? 1,200 stores. Do your math. 40 years, 1,200 stores. Here's the big question. How did it start? Come on, quickly. How did it start?
Just the idea.
As one store?
As one store. Doesn't that sound like one store? No. How did it start? Come on. Come on.
Somebody's basement.
Bam, really, really close.
One man sitting on his sofa.
One man sitting on the sofa. How about one man out of his trunk? You got to put on your very, very best. How many shy people we got in the room? How many shy people? How many shy people we got in the room? Listen, when you go for the interview, leave shy at home. You're trying to put forth your very best. You want this job, don't you? It might, listen, landing this job might be the big difference between 10 or 15,000 to 40 to 50,000.
I think this program is really important to help the youth understand what it takes to start a business and how to be financially successful.
I think the program is important because our young people need a plan, a guideline, some foundational tools, and I believe this program gives them the foundation so they can be entrepreneurs, that they can start their own business or be a great part of another corporation.
Hi, it's Joey Price from Jumpstart HR. I'm very thankful for the Pursuing a Dream Corporation. They were able to provide students with great information about what it takes to be an entrepreneur, learn from the failures and successes of other young entrepreneurs, and great tips on funding your business, planning your business, and dressing well for your interviews or your pitches or your networking events.
Hi, my name's Henry Ahn. I think it's a great program. I think it's a good, fun way of learning things that you guys should really put on the show at school auditoriums with a much bigger crowd, because I think it's a great program. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Deanna Mayo, and I believe that this program is great because it gives the young people insight on what it is to own their own company and to become great and to just exceed in everything that they do.
My name is Patrice Washington, and I am so happy to have been a part of Young Risers. I believe it's very important that youth hear success stories and gain keys to success from individuals who have gone through the process and who can share firsthand knowledge.